ULTI.TV. Good morning and welcome back. It is finals day here at UKU Nationals 2021. I am Hannah Pendleby, delighted to be joined in the booth this morning by Benjamin Rees. How are you doing, Benji?
I'll be honest, I've been pretty much mainlining lozenges since we left the venue yesterday evening. It's just about done the job, as you can see, just about being the operative words in there. But it doesn't matter, I'm going to power through because I am super psyched about finals day. And what a prospect we've got in store first up.
We certainly do. Women's semi-final action between Bristol women and SYC in front of us. We've got obviously Bristol in their very fetching red jerseys and SYC in the navy blue with the fetching pink stripe. So, Benji, how are you feeling about this matchup?
On paper, you'd have to put Bristol as the favourite. They topped their pool, SYC in the end finishing second. They had some very good results yesterday, but for both teams. Obviously, if you top your pool, you know you've done well. You can't ask for any more than that, really. For Bristol, in their pool, they started off with a very strong win over Scotland Scram, 12-4. They dispatched London Masters, a tight game, that one 12-9, and they thumped Reading 15-1. SYC, they beat Seoul 15-3. A very impressive win over Spice, 13-8. But in the end, maybe they didn't have enough left in the tank for that last game against Iceni because they went down in the end 15-6.
Well, certainly exciting to see this one get underway. Cordelia Lodge will get the disc in play for Bristol, coming out on offence. Has cuts under from Kantorowicz. Finds Chiang there. Lodge going up the line. Just going to play it a little bit too far, but redeemed by Ange Wilkinson.
It's that veteran presence, always having an eye on the disc, so if there are any tips or overthrows, you're there ready to collect it up.
Oh, lovely inside shot. Kantorowicz now on the goal line. Looking to take first blood for Bristol and finds through a little bit of traffic. Fliss man for the goal.
Yeah, Elena Andres is there trying to poach off and clog that space, but thankfully able, for Bristol's perspective, able to zip that throw in there. The possession really kind of opened up by that carving inside-out break from Joe Lewis.
So we're just about clean hold to start us off here. Bristol working their offence relatively smoothly, but it's a nice backup there from Wilkinson just to make sure. It's another look at that lovely inside flick from Joe Lewis.
Kantorowicz is interesting because she's obviously, I think the technical term people tend to use is diminutive in stature, but she's such a potent red zone threat because she's so quick and she can get free in those really tight spaces. And she's a threat anywhere on the field, but especially in the red zone where spaces are often at a premium. You need someone who's got that first step quickness that she possesses.
She does. I think I once called her small of stature but mighty of heart, the giant killer, Saskia Kantorowicz. She actually got her, apparently her colleagues started making that her little motto at work.
It's nice. It's nice, that.
It is. It just goes to show, you know, people do listen to what we say, Benji, occasionally.
I mean, when they can hear me, yes.
It is a good husk. It's a good husk. So now SYC's opportunity to show us what they can do. Anna Trebleware with the one-handed grab. Dishes to Johnny on the far side. Oh, nearly a run-through D from Alice Beeching. Very, very rapid athlete she is, matching up against Alice Dinsdale, who is a keen person on the field at ultimate, but also a swimmer.
Oh, interesting.
So the D-line for Bristol giving us their first look after just a missed catch from Anna Treble. Link surveying the field. Great work from SYC's O-line to play D. Oh, nearly a bumble there, but just about kept. I think that's Oldfield, one of the newer players.
Went for the crab catch, and the disc just kind of altered it, varied its height a little bit as she was going to catch it. Lower round break, diving grab from Wedge for the goal.
Oh, Molly Wedge scooping that one off the blades of the grass. What a great addition to Bristol's roster she's been this season. It's
always interesting, I mean, for every new season, seeing how teams look different, but especially in a season like this where you've had kind of the extremely extended off season, people have moved around, you know, we're going to see people on new teams, in new positions, taking on new roles, and so it's going to be I think a key difference, especially this late in the tournament, will be how these teams are able to integrate those players and really make use of the full depth of their roster. And it's good seeing players for Bristol who perhaps aren't necessarily the biggest household names doing work for them early.
Absolutely. Do you think, Benji, we're going to see more of a geographical spread out and creating new teams post-pandemic? Or do you think that people are going to be more willing to go and join those big powerhouse teams?
I think I hope that we're seeing it a little bit already, that because there have been various travel restrictions and stuff in place, people have been forced a little bit to play for their more local teams, and hopefully it stops talent centering on one or two big clubs and forces people to kind of play more in region and help develop the ultimate there.
Absolutely. So even Stevens, even though the far scoreboard has not been updated, ours has. Sorry, I take it back.
It is now, yeah.
Nice read there from Kantorovic. Oh, and an immediate put from Lewis. Finds the space, and the streaking defender cannot quite keep it away from Lisa Hocking. End zone call as Lodge now picks it up, Cords with the disc, surveying. Not really many cuts from afar. Lewis sort of sauntering in front, a big hammer across the field. Wilkinson has a look at it, but doesn't quite manage to grasp.
I think maybe Wilkinson was thinking, was that for me, or was there someone else there who was the intended target? In the end, it ended up going between them. Interesting, Bristol, rather than going for a set O-line and a D-line, they've had one line going right to left, which is we'll call downwind in inverted commas. There's not really much of a breeze at the moment. And then one line going in the other direction. We'll see if they keep this up as the game progresses.
So Captain Wilson then, number 13, centering to Lopez. Oh, a low one. Ian Sham tries to build it. Sorry, that's Rupal even. But another error from SYC gives Bristol the disc back. Lewis on the far side, faking a lot, but not really find many options. Lodge up the line, just about squeezing it through. Looking to use the width of the field. Manages to find one. Oh, big pressure. And immediately breaking across to Wilkinson for the goal. And that is a 3-0 lead now for Bristol women.
Bristol looking in very good form early, trying to seal up their finals place. And Wilkinson, we haven't seen her in the women's division for a while. She's been obviously in mixed, one of the captains of the GB mixed side in that won gold at EUC 2019 in dramatic fashion. But she's playing here with Bristol this season and this weekend. As you can see, it's been a pretty handy addition.
Certainly. Well, having moved across to Cheltenham, she obviously, we did see initially Wilkinson leave Iceni. This kind of was part of their core for a very, very long time and went over to deep space. But as you say, it is a delight to see her back in the women's division. She's a very, very capable player. But apart from that kind of redemption in the first point, I haven't really seen her go some massive work. She's allowing sort of the younger handler set to boss it for Bristol. Yeah, it's
especially when you get a pickup who is kind of a bigger name, a more established figure. It's always interesting, how does your team change what they do to fit them? How can they adapt to a new system? And this is not just exclusive to Ultimate. Any team that brings in new players, there's always an adjustment of how can we get them to fit our system? How can we change our system to fit them in? But the fact that, Anne Wilkinson, it's not like I'm here, I'm going to dominate all the points. Not that that's necessarily the kind of character that she is, but it's good to see that not necessarily having the ego of I'm coming in and now I've done all this, so I'm in charge.
And it takes a lot of maturity to even to turn those players down sometimes, or to give them a smaller role because of the style of offense that you want to play, or defense. But in terms of SYC's side, obviously currently staring up a 3-point deficit, not insurmountable, but definitely not the start that you want to have against Bristol.
No, I mean, with a team of Bristol's quality, you cannot afford to let them get out of sight, because even if you trade out the second half, for example, they can put such a big gap in by the time you get to half time. The game's pretty much already done. So for SYC, you've just got to you don't necessarily have to be the prettiest ultimate, but you've just got to do what you can to make sure that this point goes in. Maybe you've got a particular play in mind, looking for example, the speed of Galani deep, for example.
Indeed, I've been enjoying Rupal Galani's Instagram content over lockdown. is a B Ultimate sponsored athlete. I don't know if you're subscribed to her on Insta?
I must admit that my Instagram game in the past few months has massively dropped off because I found that it was not making me happy.
That is fair enough. I feel like for a company that did its own study saying it wasn't great for your mental health to scroll through your feed, as we see Wilson putting up a big shot for Galani. Can she lay it out? Oh, what a hero that girl is.
I mean, maybe they've got us in the ears downstairs, because we did say, you know, maybe try and draw up a big look to Galani, and my word, that was some look. She's got the speed to get behind the defence. There was a point there maybe I thought Bristol had the space to, you know, try and read it and get the interception, but it was agonisingly out of reach. And Rupal Galani getting horizontal as well to seal the score. And who else but Wilson to put it deep?
Absolutely. You can see the defender just fingertips away from it. But a captain connection, both of them doing what they do best. Wilson came in as a reinforcement, I believe, this morning, Benji.
I was not here yesterday.
She was not. So I have a little bit of inside knowledge, because actually the first game of this tournament I played against SYC, and I have to say they came out and they did a really long warm-up and they were really gunning for it, really up for it, but they did have a couple of, in the same as with this game, a couple of just sort of curious errors, I think, for the quality of team they are. So hopefully that can inspire some magic. But Wilson yesterday was at a wedding, so thankfully, having filled in our player survey, big shout out to SYC for doing that all this morning. She came in from 4 a.m, left the wedding, drove here, and has had 2 hours sleep and still putting up hucks like that.
I've always wondered why people are selfish enough to schedule weddings on big tournament weekends.
How very dare they?
Absolutely.
So Bristol now bringing out their O-line again. Pantorowicz free in the under space, but overthrown.
Yeah, the cut was there to be thrown to. It's just a missed execution error. There was also a big swing available to Hocking on this near side, but didn't get taken either.
Beaching far side's going to squeeze it down the sideline. Nice reception. Sham with the disc. Looking around. Oh, Andres going to ground, but can't manage to clasp that one.
Agonisingly out of reach. Got a decent hand to it, but just couldn't quite secure the snag.
So Lewis will get us back underway. A little bit late movement from Bristol, but oh, and a nice poach off. Throws pretty much directly into the path of Sham.
Just tunnel vision there, I think, from Lewis, focusing on the receiver who had beaten their matchup, but good help defence. Sham is lurking there the entire time, and Lewis just didn't spot her.
Nice work up the line. Ray now has it. More of a clump as SYC find their structure. Good swinging around. Can they continue it? Has Beaching available, but doesn't tie. It's a little bit later. Has Kirsten Wells. Oh, a nice break around. Can it be caught? Oh, what a snatch! It's going to be called in by the teammate behind.
That was. There's a couple of things here. A, whether it's in bounds, and B, whether it's in the end zone.
Absolutely. Well, it was gorgeous knee slide snag, but
I must admit, trailing edge always makes me throw up in the mouth a little bit.
ooh.
Oh, I think that's in.
It does look good on our slow motion replay. Unfortunately, our screens are a little bit far away from the players in the field, so they cannot allow themselves to see the action replay that we are party to.
You're seeing it here on the replay. Yeah, I think that's in. Looks good from here. Obviously, we'll let the players kind of work it out.
We do have a sideline buddy though, Mr. Cy Hill of UKU Ultimate. Mr. UKU Ultimate. It's not called good on the field, but
doesn't matter in the end.
It does not matter at all. But we've got the replay for them to watch later. It was a gorgeous catch.
Yeah, I think by the time the disc was secured, she was just off the end zone line, but it was very tight, and I think maybe that's what they're looking at, because often with those sort of jump ins, you think you're in, and actually you haven't quite fully taken off yet. But then good reset, working the dump swing around to hit the break side space, and Wells making the grab for the sick break, and now they're just the 1 point down.
And if you want to support this live stream here, all the content from ULTI.TV, you can become a Patreon like Willem Garner just did. So thank you very much, Willem Garner, for becoming a supporter of Broadcasting Ultimate. pure profits. All profits go towards making more coverage, better coverage. We're not just going to buy ourselves a stay in a spa hotel with a hot tub.
Wait, we're not?
Not yet, anyway. But I was asked the question of what we were going to do with the profits, Benji. If suddenly everybody in UKU started giving us 4 coffees worth of money a month, what would we do with all of our, massive big fat cat profits?
I was going to say, it depends where you're buying the coffee, because if it's in London, then mate, just get everyone, luxury limos to each tournament. But no, all the money's just going to go back into broadcasting more Ultimate, and the Ultimate we do broadcast, we can hopefully provide a higher quality of coverage.
Absolutely. So if you want to do that, get yourself onto Patreon. A miscue completely from Bristol is going to give SYC a potential easy score. They have players isolated in the space. Everyone coming through now, though. Andres back to Galani. Has Nevitt around available. Oh, what a nice play. Heads up defense. Durban coming through with the block.
I think Andres got a little bit greedy there because she was in plenty of space and she was like, I'm going to try and smuggle a few more yards out of it. And that allowed the defender to come in and close that gap in time and get a hand in there to disrupt the disc.
Oh, lovely saucy grab from Link on this near side. Great work from SYC defense, playing a little bit of help, clamping and clustering. Oh, and it tips off the hand of Beeching. Wells immediately getting herself into the end zone.
Second bite of the apple now for SYC.
And this would bring them level if they can. Andres, nice break around. Oh, it just tips off the hands of Wells. She's calling a foul, but that disc had a lot of punch on it.
Yeah, interesting to see what happens as the result of this call here. I think initially they were looking for the break around, but it's Wedge who's marking the second handler, who's poaching off into that break space to prevent that throw from going, and that's why the open side look goes to Wells.
So it looks to be a contested foul, so it will come back to Andres. Hopefully we can see Nevitt and Wedge get involved enough to want to take off their trackies at some point in the game.
I have a theory about playing Ultimate in tracksuit bottoms. This is not positive.
We'll hear it later.
Don't know if you
SYC
will.
looking for the break side. Galani in a lot of traffic, but pulls it down. What a read! Great help from Nevitt to secure the goal, and SYC level it up.
You don't have to be tall in stature to be a good aerial player. There's a lot of body positioning involved, and there's a lot of just knowing how to read the disc. And Galani showed it there, maybe suckered them into getting a little bit too underneath it, and then she's got the space to be able to backtrack, catch that floater to tie SYC up at 3 apiece. After going 3-0 down, they have responded in strong fashion.
I can definitely confirm, Benji, that being tall is not the necessary requirement to catch high discs. So I don't know, have you been able to play much under the pandemic?
I don't think I've even picked up a disc in 18 months. Honestly, I could give it a go, and I imagine I would probably spaff it.
That's like riding a bike. You never forget. So, but I don't know if this is the truth for anyone watching the stream who's been sort of trying to do what they can to keep themselves in shape and ultimate Frisbee form, but in terms of catching, I just haven't practiced reading any high discs, and it really is that having your eye in, having your reading glasses on, as they say.
Yeah, you need to find a parent or other half or someone who's willing to throw you some swill just to try and have a little bit of practice with.
So Link will pick it up and get it immediately boosted to a completely miles open free, exploded coverage from SYC, and an easy goal from Bristol.
I'm not quite sure what the defensive plan was there from SYC. I'm assuming that it wasn't that, because Chiang had not just the freedom of the end zone, pretty much the freedom of Nottingham there.
Give her the keys, she's got the freedom of the city of Nottingham.
Yeah, and giving any player on Bristol that cut to throw to is going to get thrown to, but especially someone who's got the capability of Carla Link. She's looking downfield. I think it's just the stall counts 1, 2, and she's like, oh, well, fine. Winds up, beautiful form, puts the backhand huck to space, and Chiang. So much time to make the catch to put Bristol back in the lead 4-3.
It's the handler's dream, really, isn't it? You see the complete miscue on defence. You've got the disc early in the stall. they probably don't expect you to hug it straight away. They think maybe she'll centre, maybe she'll not, and you just bomb it.
I mean, honestly, as a handler, that is my dream. Walk down from the pool, pick up the disc, bang it for a score, let the D-line do the work.
True O-line handler.
I mean, you can't do it any better than that, really, can you?
To be fair, though, in reality, and I am a D-line handler, so I like it's. I don't know. There's players that enjoy, the run around first.
No.
Just to get the nerves out.
If I wanted to do running, I'd do running.
Well, actually, fun fact: Link has actually been converted to running. She was living alone under the pandemic in Bath, but loves living in Bath and playing for Bristol. But she's been getting into her running something special.
Expansive swing from Wilson, one of many tricks that she's got in her locker.
Absolutely. Blarney in the centre field looks back for fellow captain. Nice movement, giving and going for SYC. Little pause to regain their structure here, though. Back to Wilson. That was high and blady, but Wilson very, very experienced. Came up through the GB Junior programme. Played Wells in 2020. Oh my goodness! Absolute scorcher through traffic. Kirsten Wells with the good shake.
Visionary, absolutely visionary. Okay, look, that's probably not quite how they drew it up, but until that final pass, which was kind of sketchy, very calm, assured offense there from SYC. They've certainly found a way to grow into this game a little bit after a cold start.
Indeed, the taps warmed up. Definitely, and it is neck and neck. Of course, this game means everything to both these teams. Well-established clubs that have played each other a number of times. Bristol are the current, the last UK-based team to have won nationals back in 2018 when they bested Iceni, which was not too far from here. I just remember it being very, very wet and soggy up in Birmingham.
It was, yeah. Moor Lane, is that the name of the ground?
I think so, yeah, I think you're correct. But that was the weekend, Benji, where I think we were commentating from inside a tent at points.
Oh yes, we absolutely were, yeah. The weather was pretty dismal. And so it's nice to come to nationals, and actually we've got relatively good weather, haven't we?
And the field site is absolutely gorgeous. Shout out to the grounds crew who've kept the pitches sparkling for us.
And with their magical robot line painters as well.
Robot line painters.
Oh, Rob was telling, because one of our crew, Rob Henderson, was telling us yesterday that rather than having a classic bloke pushing the thing with paint that comes out of it, basically they map it out on with the dimensions, and then they put a robot in the middle of the field, and then it paints the lines, and it takes 20 minutes as opposed to 4 hours.
Oh wow! Well, there you go. Unfortunately, in error, Hocking can't quite redeem the pass, and SYC with a very, very short field has Ray available. Chooses it a little bit later, not quite going to be inside the end zone, but Beeching wanting it on the far side. Cheeky break. Nice dish to Sham. Good calmness. John there puts it around Helen Swan-Thompson, but not to be a little bit too far.
That is very frustrating from SYC because they will scarcely get better break opportunities in this game. Bristol turning with a short field, the opportunity to put your noses in front, really rock the opposition, and unfortunately there just wasn't that kind of clinicity that they needed at the end.
It was patient, but it was a little bit, everyone's just a bit close to each other. Wilkinson far side, sees a deep shot, and then pops it into the air. That's going to sit and hang and fall straight into the lap of the defence. Swan-Thompson, though, just a little bit high, a bit too much mustard on the disc. Hocking picking up, little head tilt. Doesn't like what she's getting from Lewis, puts it a nice sitter around to Lodge. Oh, that's going to go almost out, but just about makes the right spot. Not much movement, still trying to isolate players in the handler space. Just loses it into the end zone just on a high stall.
It just look, both sides, their end zone offense is very cluttered. They're not creating space in a particularly fluid fashion. It feels like a real grind when it gets there with space, very congested and at a premium.
I think we have to credit the defense. Both teams are really, really thirsty for blocks. See Beeching there, available in the open space. high stall and immediately pulled down by Lewis, who gets it back in play. Cheeky hammer over the top, and that is a goal for Bristol. Nice little punch spike there from Lyndon Chiang.
The reason that point was scored is because they got the short field turn. The short field turn happens because Dinsdale Young is streaking underneath on a big diagonal cut, and Kantorovich she's looking around and she sees it develop, and so rather than track the player she was marking deep, she's sitting in that space, and the inside shot doesn't go early enough, and it means that actually they get into the high stall situation because Kantorovich has stayed there and cut out that option. So they go and try and go over the top. They get the hand up for the D, and in the end, as you mentioned, that cheeky little hammer over the top from Lewis to Chiang has put Bristol back in the lead.
Well, team defence keeping Bristol's lead alive. If you are the coach Phil Sturt for SYC right now, Benji, what are you saying to get SYC revved up?
I think, obviously the game started slow, but you say, actually, keep doing what we're doing. We're getting turns. We're just, maybe we need to be a bit more clinical at punching them in. But we're getting turns. Our O-line's looking pretty good. Maybe you need some of that creativity in the end zone. Take some of those slightly more unorthodox shots, like the overheads, because especially if you're going to keep that tight vertical stack, there is so much space on the break side to hit, and sometimes you just need to open that locker a little bit to try and find the throw to get it there.
Nice moves from the handler set of SYC, redeemed by Johnny on the far side of that disc. Wells now squeezing it down that sideline.
Yeah, Wells saw that Link was on the ground and used that as an opportunity to take off deep.
Absolutely, why wouldn't you? Looking for movement across the field, but it's going to absolutely lost to the far corner. But even the speedy number 17, Tessa Jalink, cannot get there.
The throw just sailed from Andres, unfortunately. It was not a bad look, but it got a lot of air under it very early, and it made it too difficult for the receiver to bring in. And so now Bristol, opportunity to kind of take a little bit more the game by the scruff of the neck again.
So Wilkinson hanging out in the deep space. SYC clearly trying to prevent the long shots that have been very effective for Bristol. Try and clamp some of these super athletes. Link looking around, having to work hard to break the force of Kirsten Wells, and that's going to go way too far. SYC generate the turn with some smart defence.
Smart defence, and both teams have often struggled at resetting the disc. The synergy isn't quite there between the thrower and the dump about whether it's going to be handler led or thrower or receiver led. It's not quite on the same page.
So an opportunity to sit close to the goal line. This is their offensive point though. Johnny going across to Andres. Great poaching out from the Bristol defenders. Big sky ball goes across to Galani. Oh, and just enough of a tip on it. Great block.
Yeah, Bristol have changed their line slightly. So players like Chang and Wilkinson have switched over to go in this direction now. And that time it is Chang who's the throw out to space to Galani is usually a good option. But in the end, just didn't quite have the angle, and Chan's able to cut in through and knock that disc out of bounds.
So again, we're seeing this smart clamping defense from SYC. Oh, great turn from Wedge. Completely sold there.
I've been very impressed by Wedge this game, actually.
We haven't even seen that much from her yet. Finds Beeching, but the disc just bobbles out of the clap catch. Maybe just caught the rim a little bit. So SYC once more has the separation deep, and what a lovely put from Kirsten Wells. Golden on a platter.
Well, we talked about maybe being a bit more creative in the choice of throwing. That's ambitious, and I love it. It's brilliantly executed. Just that feather touch on that forehand from Wells. Cannot execute it any better than that. And this game, the pendulum continues to swing, and at the moment, it is dead cent. Hang on. Well, I guess Eventually has to go central for it to go left to right. Like, there's
does.
no way it can get other way. They can get there. Anyway, the point is that it's still tied at 5 apiece.
Indeed, we level back up. Took a couple of tries for 6-0 line to connect, but what a beautiful connection that was at the end. Just seeing a lovely replay there of Wells's shot to Jalink.
And part of the reason that she's able to put that throw up is because there's no mark there. So actually, she can take the time to properly set herself, pick her spot. No, she's not worried about being pressured from a throw. And we're seeing a timeout here, I think, just to, try and say, look, we need to, for both sides, for SYC, it's, we can do this, we can push forward and really, we can take this game. And for Bristol, they're going to be thinking, we got ourselves 3 points ahead to start this game. We can do that again if we do that. Playing out that weekend, but the point is, you want to see the best ultimate possible, and I think you want to see a bit of wind, because if it's completely calm, it's you like a little bit of a challenge, I think, and this really separates, you can see who's been putting the extra throwing work in. It really differentiates those elite throwers.
Absolutely, we do have a little flutter of wind. The flags around the fields have just got a nice little kind of gentle breeze, keeping things interesting. But yeah, I just still remember, do you remember that college nationals in the US in Boulder, Colorado, where it literally was just almost unplayable conditions?
Yes, I do.
It's good to have a little bit of excitement, but not too much wind. But back underway now, all to play for, 5 apiece. Bristol in red versus SYC in the navy blue. Darby Ray Donaldson coming up to apply the mark for Joe Lewis. And some straight up match now from SYC. None of that clamping. Smart defense from before. An immediate put into deep space. Diane Lopez with the grab. Having sat out yesterday with an injured leg. Nice to see Lopez back on the field. Nice move around from SYC. Galani getting low, but just thrown into the floor. Lewis has hocking around, doesn't want to throw the break, squeezes it up the sideline. Kantorovich being almost snagged away by Galani. Around to Lodge, has the break available, chooses the holster. Kantorovich keeping Galani perhaps out of the end zone, so she can't make a defensive play. Lodge up the line, going to sneak it through. Can she get there? Oh, big collision.
I think there's going to be a strip call, perhaps. It was interesting because Lodge was she had a bit of space in the backfield, and I think just waited for the defender to turn their head the other way, and then powered up line. The throw sails a little bit.
Oh, it's an interesting one, because obviously it's always difficult when you're going up line to have a defender come out through. I've been taken out completely blindly by people peeling off a stack before, but nice way to do that relatively cleanly from Lopez. It looks a little bit, Benji, like perhaps she did get a hand in there first.
Yeah, she did. The question is whether maybe Lodge is looking and pulling out because she... I'm not sure. Obviously, when you're down there in the moment as well, you have perhaps a different view of it. We're only getting it from this angle as well. They've got a sideline down there that's seeing it from the other side.
Oh, no, absolutely.
I mean, Lodge, I don't think Lodge ever had control of it, but I don't know whether... we don't necessarily have a microphone down there either, so we're not necessarily privy to what the discussions are that are taking place.
We need Mike Palmer with his wandering field mic.
Field Mike Palmer.
We do miss you, Mike Palmer. And if you want to make sure that Mike Palmer can be here in future with his field mic,
smooth
you can
transition.
Look after us. You can fund ultimate coverage globally around the world through ULTI.TV's Patreon. So get your bottom over to ULTI.TV, the website, or get yourself to Patreon and search for ULTI.TV and support us. You can support us on a monthly basis. You can set up a direct debit. That, as we all know, direct debits, you never check what's going out of your bank account each month. Unless you're super duper financial, responsible, coachy type, like people that have spreadsheets and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, look, I love a spreadsheet, but I am not financially responsible. That is not a thing.
So if you want to be more Benji, which everyone should,
trust me, at this moment in time, you absolutely do not.
But in the instance of becoming a Patreon, you want to be more Benji. Be like Benji. Support ultimate coverage. Be a patron via Patreon.
That's the one. Getting the lingo down in the end.
It's interesting because Patreon isn't actually a word, is it?
No, it's just the website.
Just a website, just a brand name.
But any contributions are greatly appreciated, so we can keep doing stuff like this, and we can keep bringing it. We can put it out there for everyone to watch free of charge.
Exactly. So if you are enjoying the live stream, do consider sending us some of your schmeckles.
Schmeckles.
Yeah, it was a new word. I never knew it was a slang word for money, but I like it. It's very fun to say, schmeckles. So let's see if Bristol can put another one in the bank. Lewis looking for that inside, but great defence from Donaldson. Oh, and a toss to Hocking, just slips out of the clapped hands.
A little bit too far in front. She's going one way, that is kind of behind her, so it's always difficult to try and snag it like that. And SYC have the chance to take the lead, but they're going to have to work the full length of the field, and Ange Wilkinson is going to prevent that from happening. Just that's the risk of taking those shots down the sideline. And obviously, as a receiver, you've got to keep yourself in bounds. Wilkinson, the defender there, she's got no such restraints. She can just go and attack it.
Absolutely. That's what you've got to do. So Lewis with the disc again, really enjoying the mark of Donaldson. Seems to be giving her all kinds of struggles.
Yeah, it's a very active mark, really shuffling the feet as well.
Oh, and it finally comes good. Donaldson with the block. But again, just SYC doing a great job of turning the screws on the handler set of Bristol. Lopez up line, nice low grab, going to launch it into the deep space for Donaldson. Nice connection, but just not quite.
For a brief second there, I thought she had it.
I expected it all day, both hands up, but spoke too soon. The plug wasn't quite in the slot. Kantorovic, far side. Has a big target around, and Joe Lewis even. It's because Donaldson's just trailing behind her, putting on enough pressure, but I think there was a gust of wind, Benji, because we felt it just after.
Yeah, there's a couple of really fun matchups to watch out there. You've got Donaldson on Lewis and vice versa, and then Kantorovic and Galani marks up against each other, and boy, is that fun to watch.
Absolutely. Nevitt with Wilkinson is also pretty tasty.
Yeah, well, this is the thing when you get teams of this quality matching up against each other. There's fun, interesting matchups all over the field.
This is the joy of watching high-level UK Women's Ultimate. There's just so many people to get excited about. Nevitt into the space. Oh, just slightly misreads that one. Doesn't come to it.
Yeah, you can maybe, with a bit of the wind, that blading edge that's on it is getting pushed into the ground a little bit, and just Nevitt couldn't quite get low enough to scoop it up.
Oh, a high release is going to sail just shy. And this is a golden opportunity for SYC now.
Yeah, Flissman was the intended target, but it was too far out in front for her.
So is Hayden Scott going to be able to find some magic? Has Sham very poached in the centre of the field. Bristol trying to play some help D with the short field. Oh, and just a frustrating error there. You can see the dismay physically, both arms shunting down.
Yeah, not an ideal possession, that one for SYC. You know, picking up the disc in the red zone, just take your first lead of the game. And unfortunately for them, it comes to nothing.
Oh, but so does that first pass error.
Game is getting a little bit attritional at this point, and this does happen sometimes. You have a point that grinds on a little bit, and then, you know, you get a little bit more tired. There's a bit more lactic acid building up in the legs.
I can't help but feel, Benji, after the time that was taken before this point, whoever manages to come out on the right side of this one is going to have a lot of momentum as we chase down that first half.
Feels like a big point.
Oh, never taking out the trash. SYC now getting back into their structure. Has the around pass, nice dink. Oh, just a tiny bit too high for Hayden Scott.
Yeah, the pass was always rising and it's difficult to get a hold on. And Lewis is like, no, I'm not playing near my own end zone. Let's go the whole pitch. What a throw.
What a read from Lyndon Chang, just slowing down a little bit, keeping the defender on the back, and then powering through, and an easy score to Joe Lewis from the palm of Ange Wilkinson.
Well, huck and D is a valid strategy, but it, you know, if you catch the disc, you don't even have to play D. It's even better. But that was, I think that was very much Lewis thinking, look, we've got a receiver that I back to make the catch, and we're playing with fire by continually turning it over near our own end zone. Let's be expansive and take the shot, because if it doesn't pay off, we back ourselves to get the turn and give ourselves a short field again. But, you know, as you mentioned, read brilliantly by Lyndon Chang, and then a nice little bit of interplay around the end zone before Joe Lewis, you know, collects the score for herself in the end as well. And you can see the wind is beginning to pick up a little bit now, isn't it?
Well, as I was just admiring the slow replay of the, well, I think we can probably call it a hospital pass with the pack underneath it. I was just thinking that my arms are starting to get a little bit chilly, Benji. I'm in one of my VC sun hoodies, but yeah, that breeze is starting to bite a little bit. And that was a downwind point as far as the pitch is concerned. Of course, wind going from our right side to our left side, as we see on the camera views. Not yet, of course, got enough patrons to have double sides of the field. Wonder if that will confuse our audience at all, Benji.
Yeah, honestly, it's surprising how much it actually mucks you up. That's the word I'll use.
So SYC now needing this to keep things on serve. Ilya Afifidin with the disc. Looks back to Andres. Swan Thompson in lots of room in the middle. Completely poached off. Wedge now coming in. Wilson, centre of the field, immediately going to put it. Just enough of a bobble, but Fee Ray there, calm and cool as a cucumber, keeping it in.
Do I have to say it? Catch your D's. This is what happens if you don't catch your D's. I mean, I'm sure that's what she was trying to do there.
Well, to be fair, to her credit, Amelia Durbin, after having not put enough of a bobble on it to prevent the score, she did get down to her knees and whack the floor with both hands. So I think she knows. And
I think she is trying to catch it, but the risk of, but the problem is if you don't catch it, you know, you think you've done a good enough job, and then you never know who's lurking there. And unfortunately for Bristol, it went right into Ray's lap at the front of the end zone, and now we're tied back up again at sixes.
Well, Fee Ray is a little bit of a lurker. Also, she's a council worker, would you believe, in her day job.
So is that rhyming slang?
Oh, that does rhyme. I didn't even notice that, Benji. Thank you for noticing.
It's one of many talents I have.
But a long-time player for SYC is Fee Ray, one of their stalwart players. She has, when she first joined SYC, she wasn't really much of a thrower, but she has leg cannons, so was always getting run through Ds on people. And SYC it's been actually really great to watch, and it's one of the things I think SYC is great for. Just generally watching them take players and sort of give them that extra little boost of confidence to develop the full package as a player. And someone who has the full package is definitely Alice Beeching, the number 1, who's going to absolutely launch it into the end zone. But Fee Ray there just to calmly bring it in.
Yeah, I think they saw that will shoot. That's what Beeching was looking for. And even though wedge is a very nice deep option to have, there are a few SYC defenders that were waiting for it.
High stall toss to nobody, but SYC D-line are definitely worried about those deep shots. However, this close to the end zone, there's not really much to be done, but a pick call.
I think Link is what we call their suspiciously open. And this is almost always the sign of a pick.
Yeah. Nobody gets that free unless there's a complete breakdown of defensive communication. But yeah, so the D-line for SYC have been doing some good help team defense, because I think they can see that the deep shot is really what's working out for Bristol in this game. Roskowska, the number 20, having played for a lot of high-level women's teams. Lovely to see her moving down to the southwest.
Yeah, including, of course, her opponents today.
Indeed. But formerly of Leeds, I think, is where she got her start. So Sham bringing it in near sideline. Has Wells available, doesn't like the look of it. Going to throw a slightly risky shot to Galani, but just sits and hangs enough. Oh, and throwing into the poach. Hannah John had eyes only for Galani.
Yeah,
so couldn't see Link hanging out in the space. Big hammer across to wedge, and that is a goal for Bristol.
That's picking your match up, really, isn't it? Putting a little bit of air underneath it, and you know, as good as Galani is, which is incredible, you know, you think giving up a good few inches there to wedge, you know, with a disc like that, it's faith and trust in the receiver. But all credit to Link, who manufactured that D herself. She just read the eyes, you know. The thrower guilty of locking onto the target, and Link saw that and then just snuck in there and snatched it away. And then feeling good, you know, just got the D. Do I do it? Yeah, go on then.
I mean, it's wedge. Who wouldn't?
I mean, I have been very impressed with wedge so far today. Very impressed.
So, do we have any more information on Molly Wedge?
Well, we should do, because I believe they have very helpfully filled out one of our player surveys.
Well, so in terms of where she hails from, so she's from Halifax, Canada. So she's a Canadian import from our Commonwealth friends. And anything else we know about Wedge for the fans at home?
She's Canadian.
She hates vegetables, is her fun fact about herself.
And she manages administrators at Bristol University.
Oh, there we go.
Which sounds, I must admit, doesn't necessarily sound like the most enthralling job.
No, but clearly she does all of her fun stuff on the field.
Exactly.
She says her favourite player on the team is Amelia Durbin, her BFF. So, but there's a lot of love on this Bristol team. They really do enjoy each other's company on and off the field. So SYC now storming down the pitch. Donaldson has a very poached reset available should she choose it, but she chooses Galani, who's not going to be able to make a bid to keep it in bounds.
I think maybe there's a bit of contact, a foul on the throw, perhaps. No, apparently not. Just maybe talking about where it has to come back in from. Here's the problem with that is, look, I appreciate that taking Galani down the line is an extremely appealing option, but there was a wide open little pop into the centre there, and you've got to take those passes.
Keep the disc moving, keep the angle of attack changing. It really is the way to do it. Lewis looking a little bit stuck for options, just going to put it in hope underneath it. Is that? Oh, Smilaroni. I think that's the first time we've seen Andrea come on the pitch. Oh, nearly enough to stop that pass coming off. Hand up in the mixer, making some bread. Swan Thompson. Oh, these lines are being pretty evenly matched. Galani going to ground, and it's clean. The turn is signalled by Donaldson.
Yeah, they just got a little bit underthrown. There was incidental contact, but it's good to see that Galani's up and about once more.
Hocking goes for the re-catch. Looks like a game of pinball, that one. Nice around, but it's going to be taken away, snaffled by Anna Treble.
Yeah, coverage there was tight, and Treble's able to get a hand in the way.
Is she going to get the assist call on the field? Perhaps a pick?
Yeah, a pick, or perhaps maybe a push-off of some sort.
Signal from uncontest from Hayden Scott. So I think you might be right there. Just getting a little bit touchy, feely. Of course, none of us are used to that after the isolation of the pandemic.
Certainly not.
Oh, nice dish up to Alice Dinsdale-Young, and we are Galaxy points.
Yeah, this is my first Galaxy point of the weekend. I'm very excited. Sudden death to take half. It's like Universe point, just slightly smaller. Well, I say slightly smaller. Obviously, I appreciate that there's some magnitude smaller. But, you know, it's very important because, you know, especially if you're coming out on O to start the second half, you get an opportunity to put a break in, to break here, and then if you hold your O point after half, all of a sudden you put a 2-point gap in the way. And so there's a little bit of pressure perhaps on Bristol to hold here.
Oh, absolutely. All the pressure in the world. Because like you say, you don't want to put yourself in the hole coming out into the second half when you know that your opposition are going to have the advantage of the wind and offense. And it does provide probably a little psychological boost that if the game gets tight and maybe does go into Universe later on, that, you know, we've had a mini Universe already and we were able to win that. Although it's an interesting psychology because sometimes that's in your favour, but quite often, just because you got it the first time doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it a second time. It's a curious thing. Looking like a very strong line coming out from both sides, although I think every player these sides put out would probably create a strong 7, to be honest. Well, as I said before, it's pretty dreamy once you get into the top 4 of all the divisions here at UKU Nationals. Here on the lovely fields at the Highfield Sports Complex at the University of Nottingham. Have no quarrel from me there. So link to Lewis. Immediate deep shot available with Wedge. Chooses the sneaky inside. Wilkinson is going to open up the arm to Wedge though. Nice secured catch. Beaching available, isolated against Galani. Oh, and a lovely high dish, but a bridge too far for Beaching to reel in. Oh, I thought that was glorious, but you know, lovely inside break from Lewis to really get things moving. That's kind of that's very much the thrower, finding the space, putting the disc out there, and trusting that one of your receivers is going to spot that and pick it up. Well, I'm pretty sure. Oh, my goodness. I heard that through my headphones from here. What a hand block from Ange Wilkinson. I mean, that was saucy. A proper thwomp on that one. Bang, look at that. And it's sneaky because you think maybe they're not going to go down the line there, but Wilkinson was wise to it. Oh, spicy hammer over the top, and it's Wedge for the goal. That was a mighty fine Galaxy point, Benji. A lot of times when Bristol have got in trouble, they've looked to Wedge to get them out of it, and that time she's doing it once more. Lewis putting the hammer up, has the faith in Wedge, and Wedge repays that faith to take Bristol into half-time 1 point up in what's been a sensational encounter so far. That was great. Well, it's all even on serve. 8 for Bristol, 7 for SYC. But stay tuned for the second half of this game. It is going to be, I hope, a nail-biter to the last. Just another look at that beautiful block from Ange Wilkinson. So half-time here in the women's semi-final. Benji Reeves sneaking out to go get more lozenges for his rather saucy sore throat. He's a husky kind of guy this lovely Sunday, but I'm now going to be joined by the rather beautiful, if I have to say it myself, Ali Thomas.
Why, thank you, honey. Hello, everybody, and good morning.
Good morning, good morning. You'll have to speak a little bit louder. You're
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Thanks for the guidance, honey. This is the most professional setup I've been in commentating. It's usually just me and a phone and a battery pack. Some field somewhere.
That's where that's the real people's commentary.
Yeah, there we go. The grassroots commentary.
Well, we're delighted to have you in our on our balcony here at the Sports Pavilion at the Highfields Sporting Complex on University Boulevard. We have been having some tram cam throughout the weekend, but the trams haven't started yet. I think it's too early for a Sunday. It is local time 5 to 10. And how are you feeling? Because you've been watching this game right next to the action on the sidelines. Have you heard any bits of information that the fans should know?
Nothing really pertinent to this game. There's just been a lot of emotion on the sidelines from the supporters and players alike. As you've all seen, lots of very near misses and very spicy plays. So, yeah, emotions really running high in this game. Both teams, or rather just SYC, setting up their line for the first point out of half.
If you were a betting woman, Ali, based on the first half, if you really got pushed to it, who is your money currently on?
That is a really, really hard question given how tough this game has been. I would say I'm absolutely loving Bristol's defense right now, and I think I might. I know they're up at the moment, so that's a sort of an easy option, but I think I would put a small amount of money on Bristol. I am not a betting woman, but if I were pushed to it, as you say, I think my money is on Bristol. How about you?
See, I should for balance. Say SYC. But I think I'm with you. I think the leading edge, the nose just in front at the moment, I've got to give it to Bristol. They certainly have had more success previously, but also just in terms of having watched them during the pandemic, it seems like Bristol have been able to put more training sessions together. They've been really on it. But yeah, I mean, it's a world qualification year, so it is very, very important as to how you perform in the top end of this bracket in Swimmers Division. But looks like we are ready for the away. And so 6-0 line now coming out. Wilson, the captain, as the stack saunters down a little bit late. Johnny available, poached off, now in the handle space, completely free. Taking the easy option given. Beaching with a loose spark. Allowing to Dinsdale Young, and what a ripper to Fee Ray. Comes in, has a sliding Durban. Swan Thompson. Andres and Ilya in the end zone. Hannah John, Dinsdale Young. Oh, Carla Link bidding through. Just fingertips away from the block. Wanting it bad. And the poach available far side. Dinsdale Young going up. Oh, and just so close to the flying block, but not to be. Lyndon Chiang trying her best, but not quite making the block.
Just a point of missed centimetres there. So many hotly contested passes.
But that is what we want to see. Coach Woody there in the pink hoodie, coming with his team.
That is a stellar hoodie.
It's a strong look, and it's always nice to see these top teams with lots of coaching presence. On the other side of the field, we do have Phil Sturt with an excellent scrunchy game today.
Just noticing this Alice Beeching just blocking off with the force, that look across the field. Such excellent forcing. And then, oh, there it is. Lovely throw.
Indeed. Dinsdale Young, one of the One of the few remaining original Sicklets.
Sicklets.
That's what they're called. I don't know.
That sounds like it's a small sick. A mini sick.
Oh, we'll go for that. I'm sure there are. I'm trying to think if there are any mums on the SYC team.
Helen, no?
Oh yes, indeed. There you go, Helen. So she's got some Sicklets.
She's got some Sicklets.
Perhaps they're watching the stream. Hello, if you are. If you are watching the stream, feel free to give us a shout in the comments. We'll try and pull that up. So Galani with the pull for SYC. Bristol still in the lead in this game, theoretically, if they can punch this one in. So Lodge. This is nice isolating of players in space for Bristol. A little bit clustering around the disc, but now clearing out. Enjoying how they're clearing deep. Jiang, far side, has Wilkinson available and squeezes it through past the hands of Tessa Jalink.
Beautiful point. They look so calm, and considering how much pressure is on this game, to look that cool is a real feat.
So if you're Bristol, if you can continue to have your clean and calm offense, how's SYC going to try and disrupt this? What would your game plan be?
I might need a minute to think about that. For
Well,
SYC, as a game plan?
Indeed, and so you're trying to disrupt the smooth flow of Bristol. So obviously there were a lot of passes in that field, so they're playing tight person defence. They were doing some smart, I thought the D-line was playing some very smart help, trying to clamp to shut down the deep shots.
I think, yeah, and I think SYC has relied on their deep shots quite a lot throughout this weekend. I think they just need to kind of match Bristol's intensity on defence, because Bristol are going for everything, and there are a few SYC players who are, you know, putting their bodies on the line, clearly going for it. And I think to see that across the whole team, I mean, I'm not saying they're not trying, obviously, but there's a fire in Bristol that maybe SYC needs to ignite a little bit more.
So Sharma's put on some trackies to warm her legs up, finds Wilson, into the field. Oh, a lovely high snag from Sharma, who's going to absolutely loz it into the deep space. It's going to sit and hang, two red shirts underneath it. Oh, Galani with the Redeemer! What a play! That was sensational.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I can't wait to see the replay on this.
What an absolute hero. The B Ultimate sponsored athlete, Rupert Galani. Shivers.
How many years has she been playing for now?
I would say many.
11 years Rupal's been playing. And there it is, just diving past the outstretched Bristol player. Absolutely gorgeous.
Well, Bristol did everything within their power to try and stop the score for SYC. You said about SYC needing to have a fire put under them, Ali. I feel like that is exactly what Dr. Thomas ordered.
Dr. Thomas. Yeah, that's definitely the fuel they needed for their fire.
Put a few more logs on the burner, SYC. So let's see if the D-line can come out and get a sneaky uppercut against Bristol. But we've got a powerful line coming out, as you see the pull there off the arm of Jalink. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. So Hocking dishing back to Lewis. Lewis, oh, big contact from Fee Ray onto Beeching, but happy to play in it.
Oh,
a little chat, actually. Little chat.
That looks like a foul call.
Indeed, there was definitely a shoulder to shoulder. So I'd say probably Beeching. If you do tap her, she does sway with the wind. Pure athlete, lean and fast. So it is easy to bump her around, but
I'm not sure I'd agree with that assessment, having played against her.
oh no, she's very feisty. But you know, I could probably move her if I pushed her a little bit. She's quite up and down. But shout out to move us away from whether or not there's any excess on Alice Beeching or not. Molly Flood, thank you for becoming a patron of ULTI.TV. So shout out, you can become a patron also by joining us on Patreon, supporting free ultimate. Oh, and what a snag from Alice Beeching.
And what a put.
Using all of her body to get herself up for that one, but launching it a little bit too far outside for Chiang. I have to say, we gave a lot of creds to Molly Wedge coming on board the ship Bristol, but the 21-year-old Chiang has been all over the pitch, coming from Hong Kong. So another international delivery coming to the southwest and joining this Bristol roster. Not that they needed that much more help. They already had a quality side. Nice pop from Lopez to Ray. The two teammates used to play on top women's team Relentless. Hayden Scott into Hannah John, whose fun fact is that she was born in Sudan. Nice inside. It's going to be scooped up by Fee Ray. The pick is called, but
no.
It's fine, Ali. It's fine. It was on the live stream. We got it.
That's true.
So we can watch that one back. We can make a gif out of it. It'll be great.
Oh no.
I love how excited the sideline is getting.
Yeah.
I mean, because you've got to go catch it still.
Of course. But just the defeat lying on her back after she heard the pick call. Sheer disappointment.
It's fine. We're just going back to Hannah John. A not bad position to start from after a pick.
No, not at all.
So Scott centre. Has Lopez having to come in for it, and another layout grab. SYC making their lives a little bit more difficult than perhaps they need to. Beeching, poaching in the middle. Coming now to Jalink. Nice up line. Looking a little bit static in the deep field. Haven't really seen SYC launch that many into the deep spaces in the end zone. Lopez has Andres streaking through.
Not sure what the structure is right now. Okay, now it's a vert, but with 3 handlers.
Giving themselves more space.
Oh,
and that is a solid break, but it is a pick call. I do love the signal for pick. Ticket to the gun show.
Especially since both these teams have been doing a lot of working out over lockdown. It's a treat for the eyes.
Definitely. Have you been managing to get to the gym?
Not as much as I would like. But isn't that always the case?
Well, it's good for your body to go to the gym, but not all the time. Sometimes you must eat cake.
What are you talking about? On Instagram, they tell me I have to live in the gym to get anywhere.
Well, as we said earlier on the stream, Instagram is not to be trusted.
What was that in the context of?
Oh, just that it's not. Well, I think they released a study of their own that said scrolling through an Instagram feed is negative for your mental health. So sometimes you must eat cake. Good for the soul.
Yes, 100% on board with that.
So after a rather long chat in the breeze, hopefully everyone's managed to stay warm out on the field. As 6 handler set go back to work. Great defensive pressure and containment. Oh, and there the wind just catches the edge of the disc and it's going to flobble out of the hands of Hayden Scott. Beeching holsters the big put. Does have space available for Kantorovic. Wilkinson now going to launch a big break across the field. John's going to chase down at Kantorovic, but she's got the read and she's got the take. Another goal for Bristol, keeping their lead alive.
such an exciting matchup, that one as well. Both incredibly nippy players.
So we've got some shout outs for our fans watching the stream live. So Ali, tell us, so give us some shout outs. Whose comments have you been enjoying?
Just looking at them now, thank you very much, Mark McLeay. I had you toasted. That definitely brought a smile. Shout out to Katie saying go Bristol.
And if you are enjoying this live stream, and we suspect you are from your lovely comments, keep them coming. If you want us to give you a shout out wherever you're listening, tell us who you are, where you're watching. If you're in isolation, you're welcome, bringing you live Ultimate if you can't be here. I know Serena Denalek was watching the stream yesterday from Oxford, from her isolation room, doing the right things, keeping us all healthy and safe.
Mm-hmm.
The real heroes. But if you want to shout, just let us know. We do have the comments open.
There's some Galaxy Point discourse in the comments, so if you want to weigh in on that as well, we can see what the people's voice is on that.
Everyone loves a Galaxy Point. What are you talking about?
Oh, not a certain Matt J.
We make the broadcast, Matt. If you want to get rid of Galaxy Point, you have to become a patron and use your votes to stop us.
We've got a shout out request from Schnat5775 for Aaron Shackleton's birthday, watching from Saundersfoot in South Wales. His 12th birthday. Happy 12th birthday, Aaron. Hope you have a lovely day.
Absolutely. Oh, and a miscued swing from 6. One Thompson going to ground, but it just turfed a little bit in front of her.
Huge opportunity for Bristol.
Yes, indeed. This will be a break.
I would like you all to know that Hanny is hopping from foot to foot next to me with excitement. Or maybe she has something in her shoes, I don't know.
No, I'm excited. I'm very excited. Beaching. Far side. Is she going to go for something adventurous? No, she's going to swing it to Carla Link. Oh, and that is a risky biscuit by anyone's description. A lot of contact on the under there, but I would question, Ali, whether that really deserved to be caught.
That's always the question, isn't it?
I like the idea. I do like a good high release, but that looked a little bit filthy when it came out.
The outside in to the inside out space is contentious at the best of times.
The body language from Coach Woody behind the play, I think, said it all. Like the rub of the back of the head.
Oh, and a violation called. I think some positioning needing to be repositioned.
So, fair call on the foul. Durbin with the disc, knocking on the door of a break for Bristol. Piling on the pressure. Ian Shumding, an amazing job of marking out Carla Link. Oh, and some friendly fire. Both players going for the disc in the centre of the end zone. Oh, you hate to see it.
Medic being called for. Yeah.
But it just goes to show, Ali, how much both teams really, really want this game. We are, of course, playing for the final.
Yeah.
Elsewhere on the Fields complex here in Nottingham, we'll have the 1-4, which is London Masters Ultimate versus Iceni. So new Iceni versus old Iceni in some respects.
Yeah. I've heard there are a lot of players on the London Masters team who would really like to beat the young upstarts on the current Iceni team.
Well, I wouldn't put it past them. They're very good. You can just see that Kenneth coming in, tracking the disc. But we're going to take a brief pause to watch a important message from our sponsors.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
So welcome back to our timeout here. We've had a stoppage for some friendly fire, unfortunately, out on the field with 2 players from Bristol. We've given a real shake to some of the players on the field, so hopefully we can see them all come back with smiles on their faces. Medics attending on the right-hand end zone. But it has been an absolute stonker of a match so far, this women's semi-final here in Nottingham. Myself, Hannah Pendlebury, joined by the lovely Ali Thomas, the delightful Ali Thomas. So this is your first time in a proper commentary booth?
Yes, it is.
Lovely, exciting celebratory fist shake from Milan, the producer to my right. So we're delighted to have you, Ali. So obviously we just saw some slightly, frustrated offense, I think. I say it's been a real sort of blow for blow, this match, and I think the defensive adjustments are really key. But it seems like finally 6-person defense, this matchup has sort of found some magic. It's turned an extra screw and really making Bristol's life harder. What would you say is the adjustment they've made?
I mean, I think possibly a mental one. I think they are now more fired up. I think as the scoreline gets higher, obviously the pressure rises along with it. And so just having that thought in your head of, I need to get this block, I need to shut down this under. I think that's probably a factor. And I think they're also just adapting to what Bristol is doing. They're knowing the players they're marking, they're getting more used to what they're doing. And, as the best teams do, they are adapting to the situation that they're in. What would your assessment be?
Yeah, it definitely seems to be a personal responsibility thing, and the desire is definitely upped. But I think it also has to be a credit has to be given to the quality of the handler matches, the forces that they're putting on, the tightness, the active way they're moving, and just keeping pace. Really, you can see they've been running some footwork drills.
Oh, yes.
In the pre-season.
Oh, yes.
And what a long pre-season it has been to bring us here. So we've had a question on the stream as to what the time cap is in this game. The games running on Sunday are to 80 minutes, but obviously we will hope to get things back underway. Bristol have decided to do some throwing as they get themselves back, keep themselves warm. I think Durbin obviously has had a bit of a moment having thrown the disc. Obviously, has caused the clatter with the 2 players, but it is part of being in a high-level team is that you have discussions ahead of injuries happening. Injuries do happen. Ultimate is a non-contact sport, but collisions, when you are gunning for it, they will occur. So it's just about what works for you. Are you the sort of person that needs to have a dance? Are you the sort of person that needs to just be alone and go and kick a tree? Maybe don't kick trees, they're friends of the earth. But what's your strategy, Ali? If you have a moment.
A moment. I'm an alone person, definitely. I think, but also a mix is sometimes helpful. Sometimes you want to just have a minute to think, and then you want someone to come and pat you on the back and pump you up. But there needs to be a separation between those things. I'm really wondering how this is going to affect Bristol, kind of mentally, this whole debacle. That's Nat Oldfield.
And
coming off the
Amelia,
pitch now.
and Alice Beeching coming off the field. But credit to both of them, gunning for the disc, trying to be a hero and make sure that the disc is kept alive. But yes, definitely, it's an interesting one. I'm trying to recall exactly who it is that of the Bristol old school crew, because we do have some. I think we have the lovely Sarah Garner, I think it is. Trying to find in our comments stream. But we do indeed have the fans at home back in Bristol watching this live stream. But one of them works in actual sort of like sports psychology and how you move on after a sporting career into the next stage of your life. But as you say, it's going to be fascinating to see after a complete pause of all of the momentum, a real shake-up for Bristol, especially in their mental game. They're seeing their teammates not able to return to the pitch. It's going to be real interesting to see what happens next.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't want to call either way.
No, so both teams huddling up now.
But speaking of players not on the fields, shout out also to Ashley Luff, who's recovering from a knee injury. Very, very relatable for most people who've had an ultimate injury. Apparently he's smashing his recovery. So
hell yes, Ash.
Smashed a knee, maybe splashing.
I think I have some pictures actually.
Oh.
From a group chat of his knee surgery.
Oh, so proper, like, pokey, cutty type. Oh, well, good luck to your recovery. Hopefully we'll get to have you on a stream soon.
Who was watching from New Zealand? Was it Megan?
We do indeed. Megan Duffy, salute from New Zealand. So salutes back to you, Megan. And indeed, James Burbidge, what a man. He's not wearing his suit though, which I'm slightly disappointed by.
Suit.
So James Burbidge, longtime coach of SYC, has sometimes been known to turn up on the field, well, dressed like he's going to a formal function, which you love to see.
Interesting. What was the psychology behind that? What was the reasoning for that?
Well,
if you're aware,
it's all business. It's dressing for the occasion of SYC at Nationals.
I see.
He didn't wear any shoes though, so he didn't quite have the full get-up.
Okay.
So slight minus points for that. But more shout-outs. We've got Hannah Y from Isolation. So, as we said earlier, Hannah, you're welcome for having a stream to enjoy. Your time alone. We all need some alone time sometimes. And also some shout-out from Malaysia. Who are we shouting out there?
Hell yes.
So let's go Lyndon, Lisa and Joff. And if you want to also become a Patreon, be like Matt Jenkins, go to patreon.com, find ULTI.TV, sign yourself up for a nice passive investment in the future of Ultimate Broadcasting. And shout out to all our crew here today, working tirelessly, bringing you coverage wall to wall all day on finals day here at UKU Nationals 2021.
For those of you just tuning in, there was an injury stoppage. 2 Bristol players both going for the disc and not coming out as well as they could have. So the disc is now coming back into play.
There was a signal earlier from Mr. UKU himself, Cy Hill, with 5. So I think they're extending the game by 5 minutes for that injury stoppage, perhaps.
Added time.
So Wells in the underspace. SYC on offence after that long stoppage. Seems to have kept themselves warm though. Sham, far side. Conservative small ball here from SYC.
Oh, Wells streaking deep. No one on her.
No one on Kirsten Wells at all. She is all alone. Is she going to call a timeout? Yeah, that's the one. No teammates around her. So rather than wait for the stall to get high and perhaps a risky dish towards the wind, is it going to be a timeout though? Is the question, or turnout? I can't remember exactly the lingo that gets used.
Time over.
Time over, there you go.
So having just had quite a long stoppage, we have another one.
Well, it's fine, It's I'm sure it'll be briefer than the last.
Is it just me, or does the Bristol coach look a little bit like Jesse from Breaking Bad?
I will have to take a strong look, but we're
not
getting
this guy.
Some great shout of the water boy though, keeping everyone hydrated. Hydration is not a joke. It's very, very important. Your brain cannot function without sufficient water.
Hydrate or dihydrate.
Yep, truthus. And also shout out to Hannah Gilchrist, who's just relaunched her houseboat, having been supported by many of her Bristol teammates to sand it down, give it a new lacquer. But not here, but she's saying, let's see a spicy block. So, geeing up her teammates from afar.
See if we can have another Andrew Wilkinson-esque hand block as from earlier.
Oh, I couldn't even contain myself. I enjoyed that so much.
Sorry, Wilson, not Wilkinson. It's too early.
Oh no, it's Andrew Wilkinson.
Oh, it is Andrew Wilkinson. Okay.
Caitlin Wilson, and Wilkinson.
Ah, there we
It's
go.
very confusing. There's lots of quality names to remember. We're now seeing in front of us the semi-finalists for the next game sauntering on. I saw them at breakfast this morning in the hotel, enjoying some noshing. But that will be Deep Space versus Reading mixed to come. But right now in front of us, an immediate call, some sort of jittery nerves. Liking this matchup, isolated in front. Link versus Sham. Surprised not to see any of Bristol playing any help. Oh, a big high floaty, and Link's going to go straight under it. What a great defensive read. Immediate launch from Joe Lewis. Molly wedge in the deep space, but it's just going to be a tiny bit too far. No bid comes, just lets it drop to the feet.
That was coming in very low and very fast, I think. Just quite a difficult one to reel back in. But love that arm on Joe Lewis.
And what a cannon it is. Sham looking around, has weight. Wilson just about. Galani coming to the hander space. Yep, the wind is picking up. I'm starting to get a little bit chilly in my body, but my brain is focused very much on the play in front of us. Tight women's semi-final. Sham. Wilson streaking under. Kirsten Wells is poached and available on the far side of the field. Wedge playing some help, deep defence. Coming in, good containment. Bristol helping each other. Wells is completely available and open. Can they get there and make the block? No, they cannot, but Wells misreads it. Oh, what a shame for SYC.
Absolute heartbreak. So Bristol still up.
Indeed, and can they now convert that pressure? Just about able to get into Wells's head. 2 red shirts coming straight for her. So Link, vertical stack, immediate set off. Wedge has a player available in the deep space. Holsters puts the fake in. Link now in a power position, has slight separation, but Galani's going to close the gap and make the play and make the grab. Oh, but overthrows Wilson. Perhaps a tiny bit of conservation of greatness.
It was a great take. She gets so much air.
Well, a moral performance athlete. Clearly some good programming in, but a natural performer. Nice inside to Wedge, has Link available, but it's going to be streaking deep.
Oh my God!
And some more friendly fire in this right-hand end zone. What a shame, no communication.
This end zone is cursed, I think, for Bristol.
And that is the hooter, marking the end of all of the games here on the field site. Oh, and a big launch from Caitlin Wilson to Galani, but a good pick off by Bristol. Nice high one to Wedge. In stride, in flow, massive separation in the end zone, and that is a break for Bristol.
Am I right in saying that is the first break of the game?
It is not. We did have a break in the very, very early stages.
Okay.
So Bristol went up 2-0. Then SYC got a break. Then we were tradey, and that is the first break certainly of this half, and definitely the break that was much needed.
Oh yes.
As SYC call a timeout, and that is not surprising to see at all. So I believe this game is going to have been extended by 5 minutes after that collision in the right-hand end zone. So I'm hearing through my headphones that the next game will start 5 minutes late.
I see. We're just seeing a replay of this lovely forehand from Carla Link out into space. So nice. And that's Eleanor ends with the score.
Oh yes, Ennis.
Ennis, sorry.
No, it's fine. It is spelled ends. But yeah, So Eliana, her Frisbee age is 3 to 4 years. And she's new, I think, to the Bristol squad, but delighted to have her on board. Bristol having added over the pandemic a couple of extra legs to their already very talented roster. And so this game getting very exciting indeed. Bristol with the advantage. Both Ali and I did favour them as taking this one, didn't we?
Certainly did.
But no bias. I mean, goodness, if we can see SYC get a hold and then break straight back.
Oh.
I just want this game to go on for forever, to be honest.
Yes, please. Although we do have to go and also play a game fairly soon.
So SYC running the clipboard this weekend, calling a powerful line. We've got Captain Caitlin Wilson there with the big black armband just below the elbow. We've got Dinsdale Young, Fee Ray, Elena Andres, Tessa Jalink, Sophie Hayden Scott and Hannah John. So some SYC vets and some SYC fresh.
That is a stacked line, but it looks like Bristol is putting on a similarly powerful line.
Can you name them all?
No, I cannot. I can see Ange Wilkinson, Carla Link, Jo Lewis, and then the rest I do not know by name.
We've
So I'll
got
have
Molly
to look at my
Wedge,
spreadsheet.
Molly Wedge, Amelia Durbin, Lyndon Chiang, and Saskia Kantorovich.
Oh, that's Saskia, yes. Oh,
Nice pole there, but good centering from SYC, smuggling some yards up the field into John. No one really fancying getting free in the deep space. Oh, that's a lovely visionary put. Oh, but just enough pressure. Perhaps a bit too much contact, perhaps a bit of a hand slappy from Amelia Durbin. Yeah, that's quite obvious from the action replay that we're being treated to. But let's have a look at the real one.
I'm not sure. I think it's not very easy to tell from this angle.
Well, we are quite far away from the action as it happened, but an uncontested foul is called. Too much hand slappy contact. Wind picking up and gusting now. Nice work up the field from the handler set. Not able to puncture much through this Bristol defence as the field gets smaller and smaller. Hayden Scott streaking up the line, taking the mark away with her. Great pressure from Bristol's defence. Switching around, Wedge now marking Hayden Scott. Lewis hot on the chase for Fee Ray. Bristol really squeezing SYC into small spaces to try and get these up lines. Some triangle marking, nice inside from Andres. Johnny goes for it, a little bit of too much face watching, and Fee Ray sneaks the score. So we've had it confirmed by Mr. Tom Stiles himself. The game is 2-12. So one more to put on the board for Bristol to excel themselves into the final. D-line from SYC with it all to do.
Bristol really look like they are. I don't know how they're managing to up their intensity, as they were already incredibly intense on D, but managing to keep SYC out of the end zone for what felt like quite a while. But credit to SYC, really patient, really lovely offense. It looks like Bristol are favouring a more honest match defense in the last few points. They're not doing their poaching off the handlers as much.
Well, we saw early stages of the game SYC making some curious errors. So as we see now, Bristol's lineup for this all-important point. If they can close this one out quickly, then they'll certainly look to do that. We've got a line that will, I think, probably try and have a look at some deep shots, but SYC will try and prevent that for sure. Galani will be getting us underway with the pull. The captain, one of two. on this SYC squad for 2021.
SYC favouring, I think, almost all new players, and Bristol keeping a couple of theirs from the last point.
So Bristol's offensive line, Roskowska in the middle, Chang with the grab. Wedge working desperately to get away from Ian Shan for the unders. Nice sharp faking.
Oh, and
Hocking around. And King are there with the injury coming off the pitch, just indicating, touching that bandaged leg. A true veteran player. She'll be replaced by Hocking. As I already mentioned earlier in the stream, Kinga has played for, well, I think probably 4 elite women's teams in the UK and has been a handy addition to all of them. Wilkinson, another veteran of the women's division, formerly of Iceni, now dressed in red for Bristol. Wedge. Everyone in the end zone. Link has Lewis around if she wants her. Oh, and it's going to be low, but it's going to be grabbed, and Bristol women are through to the final. That is game. And what a conservative play until that launch to the break side. 2 players off and injured. They managed to come back and secure the win in difficult circumstances. Ali, what are your thoughts on that game?
what an incredible game is really all I can say. And it feels like such an anticlimactic ending. Just very calm, very patient, and a breakthrough.
Yeah, it was a tiny bit late in terms of the release. The cut was good a bit earlier than it's got thrown. You can see the little tiny hesitation there, but just making sure getting nice and low, and the scoop. And I think that's Hocking with the score, the replacement for King are coming off. So that is it. The women's semi-finals wrapped up here. Bristol will advance to face the winner of London Masters Ultimate versus Iceni. Stay tuned though, we've got the mixed semi-final coming up. We've got Deep Space versus Reading mixed. It's going to be a scintillator of a game. I've been Hannah Pendlebury with Ali Thomas. Thank you for joining us on the live stream, and stay tuned all day for more coverage. Yeah.
ULTI.TV.